Yeah. Oh. 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 Unless I miss my guess, I think it may have fixed itself. We're not gonna question it if it did. Just praise the ominous sire. Oh, outstanding, outstanding. Out fucking standing. And Dennis has it in the chat. Good morning, planet Earth. Welcome to Hyacsho High Action Weekend. I am Hyacsho, and this is my show, and it is my most moist pleasure to welcome you to another episode of High Action Weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody in between, everybody else not mentioned here, welcome to the show. I hope you are doing lovingly, sparingly, moistly, wonderfully, everything else that I can describe about your body parts. It is my pleasure to have you here today. Cheers, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Dennis, thank you for the redemption. I am going to slather up my lips for you right now, my good sir, and I really appreciate your Aqua Cola donation. Guys, people of the universe, aliens from the great beyond, today, of all days, we have a special announcement. We have something awesome. We have something groovy, in fact. Excuse me, I'm also very tired, which is why... Oh, someone actually asked me, why are we wearing glasses? So you might notice these are not my traditional round glasses. There is a reason for this. I tell you what it is. I lost the other one. I actually didn't lose it, I just don't know where I put them. So there's a difference. I didn't lose them, I just don't know where to put them. But while we get into the warmest of welcomes here today, I just want to take a second to send a monumental shout out to some people. Big thank you to C Zombie Run, Converse Fox, and Doom Guy is neat for their follows over the last few days. Thank you so much, very much indeed. I really appreciate your support. Also, big shout out in the chat. We got Dennis and Blogsy hanging out in the chat room. Thank you so much. And without further ado, I will be welcoming our guest today, the legend Quake Dad himself. But before we get into that, let me tell you how things are going to go today. So, guys, we have, the first time ever, I'm going to be playing Cyberpunk. I've never played Cyberpunk before. It's going to be great. It's going to be weird. Might be a little interesting. And we're going to be trying out Cyberpunk, and we're going to see where that goes. I've never played Cyberpunk before in my life. I've always been a fan. I was heartbroken when Cyberpunk, I was heartbroken when Cyberpunk didn't release properly, is what I'm trying to get to. I was very sad. I was a big fan. Guys, and it broke my heart. It really did. So I'm very excited to play it for the first time ever. It's going to be groovy. It's going to be very interesting to see what goes on there. I do miss my old glasses, I'll be honest. These are... Actually, no. These are the old glasses. These were the glasses before the old glasses. These are... I used to wear these. Phoenix, what's going on? Cyberwolf, good to see you, pal. Thank you for stopping in. Cyberpunk anime win. Actually, I watched the Cyberpunk anime. I'm only 2 episodes from finishing, so don't spoil it. I will fucking cut you. And that's how I got cancelled. I'm nearly finished. It did inspire me to come back to the game. But as it coincidentally worked out, is that the game had a major update when I came back. So, like, I was like, hey, well, actually, this is not a bad time. And on top of all of that, not just the update, but then it was also a... It became a better game, and there was a massive discount. So I was just like, hey, look at this. I think this is a good time. I just couldn't justify like 200 dirhams for an incomplete, broken game. So I was just like, nah, it's not gonna happen. So, but I did eventually, and I think that was pretty cool. Guys, sorry, I was actually mentioning we were having such major issues with the audio before stream, and I was telling Ruby Ranger, I think we might be in the shit. But it seems like it's figured itself out somehow. So again, praise the ominous sire. We're not going to worry about it, but we're going to give this a go again. I'm a little irritated with myself because I had intended on having a cool little audio wave thing for when Ruby Ranger speaks and his picture and this whole kind of thing. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. Except I only came up with this idea this morning and I had no time to make it work. So we're just going to have Ruby back in a few months. That's all I'm saying. We're just going to have him back in a few months. Now, without any more lollygagging or further to do, let's work this thing up here. Hold on a second. So, wait for it. Let's bring that here. Let's bring that there. Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Well, now, if you can hear me from across the universe, we're just going to have to start working on this just for a second. Now, without further ado, without many more dilly-dally or gilly-gally or anything else that is weird, please join me in welcoming the legend, the Quake Dad, the awesome man himself, the Ranger from the great beyond, Ruby Rangers. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the show here today, Ruby Ranger. I hope you're doing well. I hope you can hear me. God damn it, I can't hear him. Fucking typical. Alright, let's see if we can get this sorted out. Let's have a look here. Can you guys hear him? Is it just me? I have it on mute. Try again, Ruby.
Is it me?
No, it's not you. I can hear you. Fantastic.
Okay, good. I'm over here fucking double checking all of my shit ahead of time. I'm like, I'm paranoid. I'm like, no, my microphone's plugged in. My headphones are plugged in. I swear to God, this is gonna work. And then you're like, hello? Hello?
You're paranoid.
I'm like, oh shit.
I am so paranoid about these whole things. I sat here this morning. I was like, you know what? The reason why we went with Blogsy for the first guest was not just because he's been here for the longest, but also I was just like, it'll be a good test, you know. And then this morning I'm like, okay, test audio, and then there was an echo, and then I'm like, oh god, please just let the audio work fine for Ruby. So yeah, I can hear you. Chat, sound off in the chat. Can you hear him? You can hear him. Welcome, Siren. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for joining in. And guys, this is the man himself. You've heard all about him. You love him. He is your Quake Dad. Welcome, Ruby. Thank you so much for coming through here today.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. We both have coffee, it looks like.
We do. And in fact, you know what?
Stirring.
This is the thing.
Stirring. That's my spoon.
Oh, excellent. I love it. You know what happened to me today? I went and I grabbed, I ordered the groceries in the house, yeah? So I ordered the groceries and today I realized I didn't order extra coffee. So I finished my little yellow cup.
Shit.
Yes, it was very dramatic. And I finished my little yellow cup and now I'm out of coffee everywhere. So I might have to...
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's very dramatic. It's very sad. Can you turn him up?
I had that.
I can.
I had that the other day. I had that the other day too. I only had espresso at home. I didn't have coffee, like drip coffee that I could brew. So I was just kind of in that pickle. Like, do I want to go to the grocery store at 6 a.m. before I have to go to work? Do I just use the espresso? Like, it's important, man. We can't underplay the importance of coffee, especially first thing in the morning. Cannot do that.
Cannot have that. Much better. Thank you, Siren. I'm glad you guys can all hear him. Dude, again, geez, man, like, I was so touched when I got your message. I thought, fuck, it'll be so great to have Ruby on the chat. And then I was like, leading up to talking to you, and I was like, oh, fuck, you know, I know I had this idea of doing a guest show and, like, this weird sort of live streaming podcast, whatever we're going to be having it. And I was like, why do I ask Ruby? Like you are quite a legend and becoming an amazing one at that, especially when it comes to your FPS History of FPS series on YouTube. And I was actually going to talk to you about that as well. Like, dude, yeah. How is the History of FPS?
When you say how is it, like producing the videos, like looking over everything, like what are we talking about here?
Well, I mean, look, I don't think I could have gotten through any so I was looking. So we got your videos up here, and hopefully we don't get copy struck or anything like that. But I have been a massive fan. I've been a massive fan of your FPS history. Like one of my favorites, obviously, has been Doom. Because I like Doom, but also because it was very brave to make a Doom video in 2022.
Oh my god!
You know,
I originally had the idea, you know, to rewind a tiny bit. I've been wanting to do this channel for a while. It was in the middle of the pandemic, like 2020, and I started thinking about, you know, like I just want to do written reviews on my Tumblr, you know, but people don't respond well to written posts on Tumblr. They want to see GIFs and videos and stuff like that. And so, you know, I originally started working on a Doom video all the way back in, I think, 2020. And I immediately stopped doing that because, just like you said, like doing a Doom video today, right now, like,
you know,
what is there to say? What can you do and say that's different that like Civvy hasn't said or G-Man hasn't said?
This is my thing, dude. Like I think we spoke about this. So to give the chat a bit of context. So I reached out to Ruby like about 6 or 8 months ago. I don't even remember now. asking for help on my own YouTube videos and things like that. And we just started talking about Doom and John Romero, God himself, and we just got Lord and Savior, God himself, John Romero, and it was pretty fucking awesome. And then we just carried on talking, and then I've been an avid follower of his work, the History of FPS, which actually, Ruby, how many videos did you say? Something like 120 videos or something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines. It's gonna take me so long to get through all of them. It's the biggest. So I've got it broken down year by year, right? And so that's how I'm trying to attack this. Like right now, I've got my fingers crossed that I'm gonna finish 1994. I'm working on Marathon. That's the next video that's going to be coming up. Once October is done and Spooky Month is done, it's going to be Marathon is the next entry in the history. Then it'll be Rise of the Triad and then Heretic.
I'm not going to lie to you. Some of the games that you bring up, a good example is System Shock, because I know you struggled with System Shock for like the longest time. System Shock, Ken's Labyrinth, and there was one other one I can't remember now. I think it was System Shock and Ken's Labyrinth. I'm a big fan of old games, and I love games in general. I'm not fussed too much about any of that, but I don't think I could play them and enjoy them. Like System Shock and Ken's Labyrinth. I don't think I could jump into them and be like, yeah, fun, history, that kind of thing. I'll do it with Doom for some reason, and I don't know, but like, is there such a huge difference in the tech? Because I can still play Blake Stone. Blake Stone, and as we know, Blake Stone came out like a week before Doom, and it's just a miles difference between the two games.
Mm-hmm. And that's part of the journey, is looking at these old games and asking the question like, okay, these are relevant for the time and the impact that they had on the overall scheme of the genre, but then also, are they still playable today? And it's not always a yes. Ken's Labyrinth is a great example. That doesn't really we don't have any modern ports that enable WASD and mouse control. It's still very much a arrow keys and control key and space key. It's old school, like the tank controls of first person shooters. But so it's a game that, while influential and clearly having a huge impact, it's the precursor to the build engine. It's Ken Silverman's first game, which has a high schooler.
Which is nuts if you think about the concept of that.
Ridiculous. Putting it out 17, 18, like the man. My God, like I really wish he had completed build 2, and we could have seen what that engine would have looked like. But no, asking the questions like, is this game still playable today? And the mileage is definitely gonna vary. Like I love Ken's Labyrinth. That was my game as a kid, because my mom wouldn't let me play super violent games, so I didn't have Doom.
Yeah.
My mom
was strange. She set me on her lap. She said, it's actually weird to think humans are that small at some stage in their lives, but she sat me on her lap, and all I could do was reach to the space key to open the doors. She would play Doom. So she would play Doom in front of me. And we had this weird little disc. I don't know if it was exclusive. I don't know where this bloody disc came on, but there was this demo disc, and all it had was Heretic, Doom 1, Shareware Doom, and Orcs and Humans, Warcraft Orcs and Humans, right? And that's all it had.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. And I, as a kid, I remember picking this up, and those were the 3 games that I had, period, for like maybe until I was 14, 15 kind of thing. And then my uncle started going, and actually it was in one of my videos recently, I don't remember which one, I think it was my Realms Deep Roundup video. And one of the things that I mentioned in there, my uncle used to travel a lot. He used to work, it turns out he used to work for this company in Germany. I don't know why we always thought China, but anyway, I digress. He always came back with these demo discs in the weirdest thing, and he always had new games, and that's where I discovered the rest of Doom. You must now know, like after playing Shareware Doom for like 5 years as a kid, and then suddenly the rest of Doom suddenly appears out of nowhere. You're like, oh my God, this is insane. But then I also discovered Heretic. I discovered Chasm. We used to call it Chasm, not Chasm. And all these other games. It was nuts. Then you suddenly start to realize, oh my word, there's a whole world of gaming out there that I never knew.
Exactly.
But I missed Rise of the Triad, dude. I missed Rise of the Triad completely.
Oh man, I remember that one distinctly, because I never owned it, but this was when I was like, I didn't discover Rise of the Triad until a few years after the fact. That was back when Quake was new, and I was first discovering Quake because a friend of mine, he had parents who were in the technology industry, so he had the latest computer, he had access to everything, so he got to play all of these games. And so when he was playing Quake, and I was getting introduced to Quake, another game that he would pull out of nowhere is Rise of the Triad. And that was a huge curiosity because of that was the most violent, gory game that I had seen up until that point. I think Mortal Kombat was like around 1995 or something like that, but I had never seen anything as blissfully glorious Rise of the Triad. Like there's an option to turn on like ludicrous jibs and stuff like that. You've got literal eyeballs flying across the screen when you murder someone.
That's insane. It's a game. It's just such a weird thing, and I'm gonna tell you a story about that in a second. But just a sec. Also, just want to quickly send a shout out to Phoenix Cyberwolf. Sorry, I see that's Lex. Lex, you need to stop changing your name, my buddy. It's good to see you. Thank you so much. And also a big, massive, over-the-top shout out to Siren. Thank you so much for coming through. I didn't say hi there earlier. Thanks for coming, guys. I really appreciate you. Now listen, quickly, before I touch Rise on the Triad, there's actually something a bit more pressing. My man, my brother, my brother in FPS.
Yes, now, comrades in arms,
and all those fun things. Now, ProDeus. So, you have made this video about ProDeus. I have played ProDeus. I played it to its completion, and I had a good time. I boomed a lot. I shot a lot. It was glorious. There were jibs. It was an interesting overall experience. Now, you were slightly disappointed in this game, and I'm not going to bore everybody with asking you to do a summary of the review, but I want to know, as a creator of this video, literally taking on some ProDeus stands, because that's basically what you did, and I love it. What has the reception been like to that video? Because I've been trying to stand up for you in the comment section wherever I can, and there's been such interesting personalities come through. So how's the reception been to your video of ProDeus?
Oddly much better than I expected, because, well, and yeah, why not give the summary? I went into ProDeus. I was a big fan of ProDeus. Right? I have another video on my channel. It's my the third review I ever did on my channel was the early access content for ProDeus when it first came out. And I was a fan. I was a big fan. I gave that early access content, I think, an 8.5 out of 10. And so when the full release came out, I was hyped. I went into this. I was expecting to, like, either love it or really like it. And moving through the game and coming out on the other end and feeling that sense of dissatisfaction and disappointment, I was surprised with myself. So, like, I started writing the script and I felt myself getting saltier and saltier, and I was like, oh no, I'm sliding here. And I genuinely thought, like, okay, look, there was another game that I reviewed in which I kind of pulled my punches a little bit. All right. I don't know if you remember the game Kur, K-U-R. Do you remember that one? That came out a couple of months ago.
Oh, actually, it does ring a bell now. I think I remember the logo in my head. Yeah, I never played it. Yeah. The game was awful.
What's going on, Melancholy?
Thanks for stopping in, my man.
Oh, Melancholy. So good to see you, son. So good to see you. Welcome.
What does he say? Melancholy says, hi to my two favorite content creators in the community. Oh, Melancholy.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
that means
what
so
a legend.
Much.
Thank you so much, pal. Thank you.
Melancholy is so great. That means so much, sir. Thank you so much. But Kur was awful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Kur was awful. It's just an awful game. It was buggy, unfinished. They haven't even bothered to patch anything or update anything since then, and it just never should have come out of early access. But when I did the review, I kind of pulled my punches a little bit because I felt a little bad. I'm like, these are independent developers, and I'm like, I think I gave it a 6 out of 10, but then taking all the bugs, and I couldn't even finish the game because of bugs. Like, it literally would not allow me to finish the game because it kept crashing at the very end. But I gave it a 3. But I kind of hedged my bets. I pulled my punches a little bit because when I bought the game, they released it at full price. They released it at full price. I bought it at full price, and then it went on sale like 5 minutes after I bought it. And I voiced that on Twitter, and the devs were like, "Hey, we'll give you a free copy of the game to like gift to someone." I'm like, "Okay, cool, I'll do that." So I pulled my punches a little bit because I kind of felt bad. And then after that experience, like, realizing, like, I shouldn't have pulled the punches, you know what I mean? Like, I should have just, like, spoke my truth and said how I felt about the game. So getting to ProDeus, I was just like, shit, now I gotta actually like do that. And I thought, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say how I feel about the game. I'm going to praise what I think is praisable. I'm going to comment on what I think is critiquable. And then, the video is going to come out and people are going to say, Ranger, you're full of shit. And I'm going to go, okay, cool. We'll move on. And nobody will watch the video and that'll just be the thing. And, it's sitting at 684 views right now, which for me, that's huge.
That's awesome, bro. That's
huge
epic.
for me. That's wild.
I mean, this is the thing, dude. It's doing so well. And I know people are like, about you. Oh, just a quick one. G-Man, Silverback, what's going on, pals? Thank you so much for coming. Hope you guys are doing well. Appreciate your time. We're here with Ruby Ranger. Hope you guys enjoy the show. But, Ruby, now, listen, dude, I've played this game now, and I really enjoyed the first third.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. 100%. The asteroid is the best part of the game.
It's the best part. And this is... Okay, whoa, hold on. That's an asteroid?
Apparently, yeah, it's a mining colony on an asteroid. See, nobody knows. But what it's not just you.
When you wrote about it. So weirdly enough, I was in Dylan's stream, and he was playing ProDeus, and I was like, he's like, what's the story? These awesome Australian accents, and I was just like, well, TLDR, this is what I think the story is, and then I was like, okay, wait, I'm pretty sure that's the story. You did your review, and I was just like, but wait. There is really... It's difficult to go the story. Then I went back into the game that night, and I started to try and look through it, and I was just like, okay, there are places where you get the story, I guess, but... It's very haphazard. And then you mentioned the Proteus dimension, and I was like, you're so right. Why the fuck did we go to the Proteus dimension? There's no point for us to go. I didn't feel like we were moving in a direction and a narrative that made sense.
No.
I came to this conclusion based on not just your review, but now my own experience, things that Dill said, and I was just like, you know what, fuck. I think that Proteus started off very strong. Somewhere along the line, I don't know where it happened, I don't know why it happened, and yes, Blogsy, definitely massive alien references,
everything is an alien reference. Every single movie, every piece of media ever is an alien reference. Blogsy, thank you for being one of my people. Thank you.
Guys, don't forget though, Blogsy, please just do it. I know we have his name everywhere, but please just drop a shout out for Ruby Ranger's Twitch. I know he does stream there, and guys, if you want to, I dropped Ruby's YouTube channel. Please go and check him out though. If you want to support, please support this amazing human being. But anyway, I realized that, somewhere along the line, the Proteus development team dropped the ball. And I feel bad for saying that, but I think your review's kind of given me the courage to say that too. Because, and it's not a bad thing. I'm not trying to shit on them. They've created something awesome. It's been amazing what they've made. But I still have to say that I think there are certain points in the game where I'm like, fuck guys, I feel like you rushed this last bit.
Absolutely. They absolutely did.
And I think maybe just another 6 to 8 months in the oven to map out that narrative, to create a bit of supportive content within the game. I think then maybe even a fucking audio, what is it? A voiceover, maybe in the beginning. I don't know. But anything. Maybe would have supported, why are we blowing all these things up other than because it's awesome, okay? And I would have been totally okay. Yeah.
And even better question is, why are we blowing them up? Because if you had just left it like, look at all these chaos enemies and they're warping and twisting things and they're making it chaotic and zombifying things, great, sure, shit, sign me up and send me straight forward. I'm fine with that. You don't need much more setup than that. Then you introduce the Proteus, and it's like, oh, the agents of order versus the agents of chaos, and then the humans get caught in between, and then you have to go to the Protean dimension and then the chaos dimension, and there's all this shit, and it's just like, wait, but how does this all work?
Now, Melancholy makes a good point. He does. Melancholy does make a point, and I try to look for this in game, okay? Because it bugged me that the story felt a little light, and we have had games in the past that games have been light on story, sure,
absolutely.
But it bugged me, and I went back to try and now actively look for narrative touch points. So like maybe as boomer shooter gamers, we rush in, we shoot, and we keep going. Maybe we missed something, right? And Melancholy says, what's with the 2 or 3 places where you press E to read about the story though? So there are points in the game that I found like info dumps, I guess, that kind of alluded to things that are going on in the world. And I was like, okay, that's all right. I love a good story, but I felt there are points in the game.
One of those.
Yeah, exactly. So there are points in the game where I felt maybe there would have been a good touch point to say, all right, just to catch you up what's been happening in the story so far, or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? That's where I think maybe it was a bit of a thing for me, where I was like, geez, I don't know, maybe here would have been a good point to remind everybody, all right, you're going to the ProDeus dimension because of this reason, or you know what I mean? Or
right.
You see,
there's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities within the game to do that, and I think that. And this is just me speaking personally off the top of my head. I feel like there was a kind of a drive.
Blogsy, please just sorry, Ruby. Blogsy, please just get rid of that bot for me. Thank you, friend.
No bots allowed. Get rid of those bots.
Smash the hammer. Anyway, yes.
But I think that when you're making a game like this, you got to go one of two ways. You're either going to have a story or you're not going to have a story. And if you're going to have a story and you want to keep it simple, just keep it fucking simple.
Yeah.
And the game does not keep it simple. They throw all of this shit at you, and they have you zap from dimension to dimension, and then in the ending, you get warped into some unknown dimension, it says, and then it just says that your character's not been lost contact with and isn't heard from again. And then they allude to the fact that the Proteans are somehow like winning the war against Chaos. And I'm like,
that's just like, okay.
What do you mean? What war are they?
There
winning?
Was a war.
What? And even the name of the campaign, it's called The Kingdom Between. I'm like, between what? What the fuck?
Glad you're having a good day, G-Man.
So, not to toot my own horn, because I really, imposter syndrome won't let me do that. but the thing I've taken some. Yeah. I took story classes in college. I've actually written 6 novels. So like
Ruby Ranger storytelling session when.
Anytime, brother. Anytime. You just say go, and
You should do that on your live stream sometime. Anyway, I digress.
I should. But like, so the thing with narrative is like, it does not have to be some highfalutin, pretentious. Here is all the little reasons why this is working. Fast and the Furious is popular for a reason. Nobody watches Fast and the Furious for the story, and if they're watching it for the story, okay. Well, then
we do watch it for the story. Okay, it's for family. It's about.
It is family. You never turn your back on family. But at least the stories, they tell you what's going on, even when it's incomprehensible. They at least tell you what's going on, and then you're back to racing cars. If this game had done that, they're like, this is what happened. We don't even know what happened before this shit happened.
So like, you just throw it into, which I'm okay with. By the way, like I was thinking about this the other day. All right, I know we're dwelling a lot on the story chat, so bear with us. But Ruby and I are very similar this way. Okay, so now the thing is, I'd be very okay with being thrown into the middle of something to try and fight your way out. Okay,
right.
But then we start that narrative on the first part of the asteroid. All right, and I'm all for it. I'm like, cool. All right, we're thrown in the middle of this shit. Let's go. I don't know why we're here, but we got to get out, right? So we go. Very aliens-like, actually. Again, Blogsy. So we go, and then all of a sudden, I feel that it then pivots to us beating back chaos and order. And I'm like,
right.
But for what reason? Like, if I thought we were trying to escape because we're in the middle of this somehow. And then why, in the beginning, why did we suddenly become a cybernetic thing? Whatever, I guess.
At the very beginning.
Who made us that? Anyway? Who made us that? So then that's that. Then, somebody was deleted by moderate students. Sorry, guys.
Oops, that's my bad. That's my. Blogsy wanted the names of some of my books, so I just went and I grabbed the Amazon link, so you can all.
You know what? I'm such a bad streamer. I keep meaning to go back and fix certain things like that because you should be able to just do that. I keep forgetting and I get busy with work. Sorry, mate, but send it to me on Discord or somewhere. I'll share it up. But anyway, and then so we start off this narrative, right? And then we suddenly go into, hey, Bingo, what's going on? Thank you so much for coming through. Hope you're having a lovely day. We're just to catch up, anyone that's just joined, we're sitting here with Ruby Ranger, YouTuber, and all-around Quake Dad. And we're talking about games and ProDeus. Hope you're having a great day, Bingo. Let's get a shout out for Bingo there in the chat. And Blogsy, let's see if there's anyone else we can do a shout out for. Please, let's do it. Anyway, so My whole thing is so cool. We started off on this one narrative, and then if Prodeus, the guy, the Prodeus dimension, if they turned us into this weird cyborg, then why are we fighting Proteans or Prodeus?
And that number one. If you have to ask that question, then the story is not working.
It's not working.
Like, that is the most basic question. Why did they turn me into this? And if they turned me into this, why are they fighting me? It's not even that we're fighting them; they're fighting us.
Exactly.
They come after us and they
come
attack
after us.
But
So
why is that?
But why is that?
Here's a big question that I had throughout the narrative. Is like, so we go to the Protean dimension, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember we have to go to that space station, and then we kind of like pull it. We hypercharge it and we pull it down out of the dimension and back to the asteroid, and then it freezes over the asteroid and turns it into a snow-covered area.
Yes.
Why the fuck did we do that?
But yes, when did the ice ray come from? Don't get me wrong. Now we'll talk about gameplay in a second. Yes, I love this fucking shit. So don't get me wrong. Cool. Yes, but why? Like, it didn't feel... It's not like Doom 2016, where we kind of had... The direction was kill hell, you're angry, go in direction and kill all, and whatever, okay? That was pretty simple, but it worked, yeah? But then you have this, where it changes narratives sort of every step of the way, and I'm just like... the space station was actually one of my favorite levels, not as much as the asteroid part, but I still enjoyed it, yeah?
Excellent level. The little touches of having that space shuttle that brought you there when you're on the outside of the space station, and it's literally following you around and it's looking at you depending on where... It's the little touches. It's a great level, and that's one of the things that I don't remember if I tried to hammer this home in my review video, and I really want to hammer it home now. I love the level design consistently throughout this game. The actual level design in this game is fantastic, and the space station is an excellent example of that. It's just that none of it makes sense at the end of the day, and the mechanics of the game kind of make it a slog.
Oh, yes, okay, so let's talk mechanics. Before we talk mechanics, just a quick shout out here. Melancholy says, I need this. Adventure Princess is the story of the self-rescuing princess who loves adventure and exploring, and as she journeys to save the Adventureland from a chilly chill, she meets new friends and places. You need this, Melancholy? Don't we have that?
Oh, it's a wonderful... It's, you know what? It's a children's book. I wrote it based on the stories I would tell my daughter every night before bed.
Is that your story?
It is my story. Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
okay.
That's mine. I wrote that. Yeah, and I told my daughter to draw some pictures, and I didn't tell her that I was going to be putting it in the book, and I gave it to her as a Christmas present. So
that's beautiful. Look at this, guys. Check this out. Ruby
made the Icarus Void. I can see it on the stream there. Icarus Void. That is essentially. That is my attempt at writing a Dead Space style story. And I wrote that because you always see the aftermath of whatever happened in like a space station or a ship, and it's always like, oh my god, what the fuck happened here? And I was like, why don't we tell the story of what happened so that we could see that? And that is easily the most popular book that I've written and self-published, and it's a fun one.
Congratulations!
Thank you so much. It's a fun read. It's a little rough because it's one of the first books that I wrote.
But that's brilliant, man.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's not like I've published a book. That's outstanding. I'm gonna have to go and check it out. Blogsy, put it on the list for Christmas. No, that's brilliant, my man. Well, you know what? We could just keep talking, but the whole thing quickly on Prodeus. So okay. It does become a grind now, which is not great. Okay, so I'm not a fan of grind at all. All right, I'm not about it. I don't care for it. I don't think. Especially artificial grind. You brought this up. Okay, I'm pretty sure it was you. I don't see the point in... I like the idea of the shop and unlocking new stuff, so I like that idea. There's nothing wrong with working and unlocking things, because it's something that made OG Star Wars games in the 90s and the noughties so cool, because you could play forever and unlock awesome stuff, right? But what I started to realize is just like, oh god, why? And the thing is, the gameplay becomes a bit tedious after a while, because you're doing the same thing over and over and over. I think the game could have been a third less and better for it. You know, easily. Because you start to get to this point where you're like you're going, and then, like, especially the Prodeus dimension was a massive miss for me, because I got to the end of the asteroid, and it says go to the Prodeus dimension. I'm just like, okay. Then I go, and I'm like, you know, and it's just, there's no point to it. And then you get back from Prodeus dimension, and again, I'm just like, I guess. I just did
Right.
that. There's no point to it. It's like, all right, you remove the Proteus. So if we took Proteus Dimension out, and instead of
Absolutely.
having that, and then just having the Hell Dimension, that last level, or maybe 1 or 2 levels, then I would have been okay, more or less. Maybe reduce it maybe by another 2 levels. Then I was happy. So there's this section. There's this level where they thank all their patrons. The monument. Yes, the monument. And I was actually like, that's pretty sick. Now, if they had that as maybe the 3rd or 4th level before the end, I would have been all right. This was a sick game. I want to replay it because it was action packed and whatever. But it got to this point where I was just like, well, okay, I'm gonna keep using my shotgun and my rocket launcher or my grenade launcher, and then we're fine, you know. And I don't know, like it was a bit longer than to the end, and I know I'm being very critical, but I'm just like, too much. It would have been okay,
it really,
shorter.
I mean, if you look at Nightmare Reaper as a game that is essentially the very definition of excess, right? Like that game has like sub quests and minor quests, and you've got games within games, and it's a 30 fucking hour campaign.
You know, I've still not finished it.
The way, oh my god, it's so huge. That's what she said.
But I was a
the thing that I want to point out is that Nightmare Reaper found a way to juggle all of that and keep it interesting throughout. So even though I was 30 hours deep by the end of it, I hadn't gotten tired of it. I hadn't gotten sloggy. I hadn't gotten grindy. I was down for it the entire time. But Proteus didn't really measure or pace it out that way. No. You know, like you said, we go to the Proteus dimension. Why did we do that? But then the Proteus dimension, like in introducing all the Protean enemies, was a huge misstep, I think, for the game, because they're all so incredibly powered, and they're resilient. They keep throwing, those chaos enemies, the Reapers that are super powerful, that throw like big waves. Okay, well, there are times in the Protean dimension where you have to face like 2 or 3 Proteus versions of those Reapers.
Yes.
And it's like, so you're having me juggle all of this, and I feel like they didn't think about the enemy placement and the way that they were throwing things out at you because of the checkpoint system. Because like they're kind of expecting people to you go, oh shit, I could have done that way better. You restart the level, you know where everything is, you go in, you accept the challenge, you take the challenge on, then you don't have to checkpoint as much, you get a higher score, creates a whole fucking competitive edge or something like that. But the Proteus enemies themselves were, I feel, a huge misstep. I
remember playing the demo. Demo way back when, okay? And I didn't pay too much attention to it because I was like, no, I want to play the full game before I make any kind of calls or whatever. I remember the first time I saw a Proteus enemy on the screen, I was like, oh shit, all right? And this thing handed your ass to you, okay? But then they depowered them, but then didn't make them depowered enough to make them effective in part of the current universe, then added more of them, and then I'm just like, this doesn't really make sense. If you're going to have the Proteus enemies, fine, but then have them be like a sub-boss kind of enemy, where when they arrive, you're like, fuck, shit's about to go off. You deal with that instance. Yeah. And sorry. Oh, Ruby, you there?
Oh,
okay, you're back. You're back.
Oh yeah, sorry. You stopped talking for a second, so I was just waiting for you to start talking again. I'm like, hello.
No, go for it. Dive in.
No, I fully and totally agree with you on that. The Proteus enemies really worked in the asteroid when they appeared. Suddenly one was there, and you're like, motherfucker, and you are just off to the races trying to figure out how to take on this thing while navigating all the chaos enemies. And the moment that they start throwing Proteus enemies in swarms at you, that's when the game kind of starts breaking down, because those enemies, as you said, are great as here's one is this high powered enemy amidst all of these fodder demons, which is it's a key element of Doom Eternal to throw something really high powered at you, surrounded by a bunch of small, even regular ass Doom. It's just a key component of any FPS game.
Yes.
But if you throw, and to use Doom Eternal as a comparison, since we brought it up already, if you throw an entire room full of tyrants at the player, and that's the only thing that they're fighting, with maybe a few marauders thrown in for good measure, just to get a good ass kicking in. yeah, it's you've got to measure out the way that you're placing your enemies.
This
and
is
I
the
feel
thing.
like
And I'm trying to give the developers as much love and respect as I can, because I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, well done. You created a pretty epic game on many many levels. But thank you, Blogsy. Thank you. Shout out to the Dennis.
Dennis, my man.
Dennis is insane. We spent I think a half an hour going through Dennis's contributions on the Discord. Which, by the way, if anyone is wondering, please join the Horde Discord. We share some awesome updates, gameplays, chats a little bit. Hopefully, going to be playing Destiny 2 and do multiplayer at some stage, but that is a big maybe. But back to ProDeus. Now, the devs have obviously worked really fucking hard, and what they've created is absolutely epic. But I don't know if I don't want to upset them, because fuck, I can imagine how hard this must have been to put together. But I feel there's compromise. You know, I feel that there was an idea of what ProDeus was, and they took feedback from their patrons and their backers and everything. But then, rather than staying true to what they wanted to create, we're trying to please everybody with everything. Now,
unfortunately,
yes, I think maybe that's where the issue came in, because they were like, all right, they want ProDeus Dimension, let's throw that in. You need a reload mechanic. You need checkpoint saves. You need this. You need that. But then when they bladdered it all together, I don't think in some aspects it worked as well. Now, I know Melancholy is a backer. Melancholy, I know you are a backer, and that's fucking epic. I wish I was as well. But I also think there are certain things where I'm just like, I don't know if this works that well. I think maybe it works well on paper, but I don't think in execution it works that well. Now, saying that, I do think this is, and I know it's old-fashioned, but I do think this is ProDeus 1. Okay? I think in if they had the opportunity to create ProDeus 2, I think there would be a lot of improvements. I think they could sit back and say, cool, I agree with... Oh, I appreciate it, Mel. Sorry, man. But the thing is, I think if you had a ProDeus 2, a good example is, let's reduce the size of the campaign. Let's change the way the shop is done. Let's change enemy placement in the way you had... Now, we are being quite critical of the campaign here. This is not to say that the map builder or custom maps or the gameplay itself... Like, for me, I love the action. Holy shit, the action was cool. And then personally, I love Reload. I think Reload is... I don't think
Reloading is a bad thing at all. No.
Yeah, I love the idea of it. I think if it was Under the Mayo was quite critical on the reload mechanic and the saving points. I don't think Reload is so bad. I think Reload is cool. And who was it? I think it might have been Jared the other day was talking about how reload mechanics sort of bring you over into the Milsim space of things. And I'm like,
was it Jared? Like Jared Bear? Was he talking about?
He might have mentioned him. I think he mentioned it in passing. He wasn't critical or anything. But I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, maybe, but I also sometimes feel that reload mechanics is just cool. Like, it's just cool to see. It's just like... Sure.
And it also adds a really tactical aspect to any game, you know, regardless of whether or not it's first-person shooter, third-person shooter. You add that element. Like, we love our power fantasies and our Doom games where you don't have to reload, but adding reload adds a tactical edge where you're just like, okay, I gotta fucking reload here. So, like, am I gonna weapon swap? Am I gonna try and find a corner so I can reload? It's like, it gives player agency in a way, in that it asks you, what are you going to do now?
Exactly.
Which is cool. Like, I don't think that reloading is necessarily a bad thing in a first person shooter, and I don't think it's necessarily a good thing. I think it's a mechanic that, when deployed correctly, is interesting and very tactical.
I agree. So, I think one of the things I have a peeve, especially on your video, because I saw somebody doing it when they were comparing ProDeus to Doom Eternal, and they were like, the graphics are bad and I don't know about the gameplay. I'm like, bro, you're comparing two completely different things here. All right, yes, they borrow ideas from each other, if you know what I'm trying to say. So yes, there is a certain aspect of the community that wants more movement in their retro FPS games and things like that, and that's fine. And I think ProDeus does do that, but it's also ProDeus. It's not meant to be Doom Eternal, a AAA high polished experience kind of thing where you're meat hooking across the fucking map and shit like that. I'm more of a fan, frankly, call it out here, I'm more of a fan of Doom 2016's gameplay because I like the pace, I like the flow, and I like the pace and that power fantasy. Sure, eventually you just become super shotgun and railgun and you switch between those, but I do enjoy it. I really enjoy that whole gameplay and that aesthetic. But I also can fully appreciate the way Doom Eternal is both a boomer shooter and a movement shooter at the same time. ProDeus, I think, takes a lot of these elements and tries to marry them together, and I don't think always well. But I do think it's awesome to see them at least try, you know, and I think that's where the epicness comes in.
Yeah, you know, and I think, you know, I will 100% throw my hot take out on here. The double jump and the dash in the game should have been completely left out. They feel horribly tacked on. Yeah. I didn't like them at all, and I, you know, when I heard that they were going to be in there, I thought, okay, that might be interesting. A double jump. I do like a double jump. I love me a good double jump. So I was like, cool, I'm not going to discount that at all. But I didn't, like, I had so many issues with the double jump. I had times where I was like on the edge of something and I would just jump once to jump off the ledge, but it would kind of count that as my second jump. And so I would just fall and I'd be like, but wait a minute, now I didn't do the second jump. And then the dash just has like almost like no boost or movement to it whatsoever, and it's in the wrong place. The point that I keep coming back to is playing through the entirety of the early access content, and the game was playing fine, it was confident, it was great, and then they made a whole bunch of changes, not evolving that, but kind of taking things away from it and then doing something
I do really think different. Though, I think the double jump If it never had double jump and it never had need for double jump, no one would have cared. It's the same with dash. No one would have cared. And also, dash is in the wrong fucking place on the keyboard.
Left fucking control.
Why is it there? It doesn't make sense. But I agree with you.
No, I kept hitting shift. I kept hitting shift. I really wanted to.
Absolutely.
Even though I was like already running, I was like already holding down shift, and I would press it again for a second.
Absolutely. I don't think it needed to ever be there. And I think Silverback mentions here. Hey, Silverback, buddy. Silverback mentions here. Mandalore Gaming did a video now. We actually put it on stream in Marathon. Where he talks about reloading in games. Now, again, it's one of those things where, for me, I think, and I agree with you on this, I do think it adds that interesting tactical aspect of it, and also, I think, pressure. Because you're now asked to reload. Think about the timing to reload before you can shoot. So you're not just mowing down like in Doom 1, where you would just run and just mow everything down, right? Which is
absolutely.
Which I think is cool. I think it adds, for me anyway. I don't know about everyone else, but I'm always that idiot that that jumps out into a fray of projectiles that just forgot to reload and then will reload while the projectiles are hitting me. But the thing is, I don't know why I program myself to do that. But I do feel it's one of these weird things that I'm just like, I like it though. I like having it, and also from an artistic point of view, I like to see the reload. I don't know why. I think it just adds extra flavor to an FPS experience. And this is something Blogsy and I were talking about last night. Is that there's that artistic aspect of it, but also the tactical aspect of it. And I think reloading is pretty cool. And actually, Silverback, I haven't watched this review from Mandalore yet. I love Mandalore. I think it's pretty cool. So I still need to go and watch it. But good call out on that. I think we're going to check it out. Melancholy does say, first thing I remapped and then sorry, Mel, I'm not following you here, pal. Both double jump and the dash seem unnecessary. There you go. Apart from secret hunting and executed subpar. Yeah. Oh, hey, Shaded Dreams. What's going on, pal? Thank you so much for coming here. But I have to agree with Melancholy. I don't think it needed to be there. I think that it was there and it seemed meh. So then and sometimes doing things like that is so much worse than just leaving it out. If they left it out and no one would have noticed or cared, it would have been better for it. But now that you've added it in but did it badly, everyone's gonna notice it. You know?
Absolutely. Don't. So, what's the phrase?
Revamp the dash. I see.
Don't. Yeah, whole ass half of a thing, but never half ass all of something.
Yeah.
And when you try to throw too much into something, you try to. And I've done this. I'm guilty of this too. So it's not like just criticizing for criticism's sake. I have done the thing where I've thrown way too much all at something into a creative project that I've been doing, and I tried to do too many things all at the same time. You gotta fucking streamline. You know, and then back to the early access version of this game, it was so strong.
Yeah.
And like it was really well done, the movement, all of that, right? And it had no necessity for the double jump or the dash. And so adding it in kind of felt like, I don't know, it felt like they were just adding it in
for the sake of adding it in. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest issue that I have with it, is that it didn't need to be there. We don't need it there. Thank you, but I think that was a bit of a miss there. My whole thing is like, so all right, now we've kind of been a bit. I don't want to say a bit shit on ProDeus. Because I think our criticisms are valid and constructive. We try and be nice guys. Yeah, we're not trollers. But I think my biggest thing when it comes to ProDeus as it stands, I think congratulations to the creators. You created something awesome. A few missteps along the way that I think ruined the total experience of what it could have been. Fair enough. But I'm of the belief that they have the potential to their sequel or their expansion. Like you said, they have the what's it, the Kingdom Between, right? Now, if they were to go and say, okay, thank you everybody, let's make the second campaign or the sequel, however you want to take it, and actually say, right, now we can improve on a bunch of things, and take what they have in their toolbox and polish things up. Like the grind of the game, not necessary. Let's not have that. Let's make a shorter campaign. Let's revamp the shop. When it comes to accessibility on the weapons and things like that, and obviously they can't now do away with the double jump and the dash, sure, but maybe they can polish it up to make it a bit more interesting. I don't know, but for me, it needs to be. Oh, thank you, Blogsy. Sorry, I tried to make that command work. Apparently, I didn't include it yet. But they should be. They can be better done here, and I think with the community aspect of it, I think we Ruby. I don't know if it was you and me or who it was, but with the community aspect of it, I want to do a mega WOD for ProDeus. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah, and why not? Do you know what I mean? That whole aspect. We can create a cool map, and that's fine. But let's make some campaigns, right? Let's get some campaigns out there, all right? Because then I think we're going to start seeing the creativity of the community come through and establish a more interesting standard with the toolbox that we've been given when it comes to dashing, when it comes to verticality, things like that, and actually see what can be made. Because I mean, you've reviewed Doom 1 and Doom 2. I think Doom 2's maps are shit. Okay,
they're terrible.
They're
pretty terrible. I'm glad you said that, because as you were talking about ProDeus and the map maker, that's what I was thinking about, was Doom 2. You know, like they rushed that game. They only had 10 months to do it. You know, Sandy Peterson doing like 18, 19 maps out of 32, and they're not all of the maps are very good. Like there's a couple that are really good, and they're mostly either mediocre or terrible. But the biggest thing that came out of that game was the community modding, map making, the creation of the WODs and all of that. And that is probably the biggest impact that game had on first person shooting, you know, aside from the introduction of the super shotgun.
Oh, of course, you know, I mean, we need that.
Oh, yeah, you know,
definitely.
The OG, the big daddy, if you will.
You know what, an aside quickly, I've got I actually try and manage my channel and everything like that through Trello. I don't know if anyone knows what Trello is in the chat, but it's like a Kanban task management system. Doesn't matter, but I have a list of ideas. One of my list of ideas that I wanted to do in December is this year was a list of super shotguns and a list of BFGs just throughout the universe of gaming, and just a complete fun silly video, just talk about them, because I think there are two of these guns in the universe of gaming that just are archetypes. You know, you always expect a BFG, you always expect a super shotgun somewhere along the line. I got to make that video. It's going to be so much fun. Sorry, an aside quickly, but Melancholy touches here. They added the forced replayability, such as the secret hunting and the lore and the ore hunting. Yes, I fully agree. I think you could have unlocked the guns naturally, because you see that in the first few episodes, in the first few levels, where you go and you find, super machine gun, a chain gun, and then you know,
that was one of my biggest qualms with the super shotgun and the plasma gun, is because you picked those up organically in the asteroid during the early access campaign.
Why do you need the shop? That's stupid.
Why am I buying these?
Why do you need the shop? That's dumb. Like, I think the ore aspect. Now, to be fair, if we did a revamp, or could just be a points thing, where if you find, and a secret thing, right? So if you find ore, it gets you more points, it gets you high on the leaderboard. I love the aspect of the leaderboard, personally. All right, I don't know if it's implemented perfectly here, but
Sure.
it's fine. You know, it's whatever.
I don't have a problem with that personally.
Yeah,
you know,
personally,
like,
yeah.
it's not something for me. I'm not in it for the points or checking my points against other people. It's like I'm not ever out trying to be number one or anything, because I'm normally not. You know, I'm out for the fun, and maybe I'll check it. But
you're
but
number one in our hearts, Ruby.
Hyacsho, my guy. Look at you. Just laying it out on the table like that.
I do what I can.
Legend. But no, I think that a lot of people really value that, and so I don't think inherently that's a bad thing.
Agreed.
I don't have a problem with it.
But
you know what?
Then they make it a currency. Then I'm like, then it's just like, so if you just had the thing, if you had ore as points, all right, and secrets were a means to discover points and guns rather than the shop, then I'm cool. Then you suddenly turn a bit, and then it becomes a smoother experience. It becomes less grindy overall, and it becomes this gameplay where you now have natural discoverability or a natural want to find secrets, because you have the potential to find guns, you have the potential to find points, which is always fun, you know. And then you know who does this well, and I'm actually going to reveal something here, guys. This weekend was the first time ever I played Ultrakill. All right, and it was the first time ever I played Ultrakill. And can I tell you something? I get it. I fully get it. And can I tell you something else? There are so many clones of Ultrakill, and they should be ashamed of themselves. Okay, and I don't want to name names now because that's not the point. But there are so many clones, and there are so many indie developers. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Stop.
I thought I was going to have some hot takes tonight.
Stop copying Ultrakill. Stop copying Ultrakill. Ultrakill did Ultrakill. Make something else. Okay.
Can I take that a step further? Can I take that a step further?
Yes, you can.
Stop fucking copying Doom Eternal. Stop fucking copying Half-Life. Stop fucking copying Call of Duty. Stop copying Halo. Make your own damn game. You know why Mayo is over here saying that Halo ruined FPS gaming? It's not because Halo did it. He's looking at the wrong thing. What he should be looking at is all the people who thought that Halo was a big money maker. So what they did was then they made their clones of Halo, and then they flooded the market with all these Halo clones because they were looking to make money. Halo is an excellent game that did its own thing. Half-Life is an excellent game that did its own thing. Doom Eternal, Ultrakill, these are all excellent games that do their own thing. We don't need a fucking double dash or a double jump or a dash button or movement mechanics in all these games just to be relevant in the first person shooter community.
And you know what did it for me? I had one of my I had a message from Blanket Statement: stop copying other people's shit, make your own shit. Pretty much.
Exactly.
And don't confuse what I'm saying. There is nothing wrong with being inspired by elements of other games and applying those concepts to your game.
Amen, brother.
But when you can see it's a blatant fucking copy, okay, so I don't want to name the name of the game because shame, he's one developer. I don't think it's fair to cut him off at the knees like this. But there are two games that come to mind now that I've played Ultrakill. One of them has just been released at this Steam Next Fest, and I played it recently because the developer reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, I'm trying to shill this. I'd appreciate you maybe making something or talking about it or whatever." And I'm gonna make a 30-second video for my YouTube Shorts, and that's all fine because I like to promote the indie scene. That's part of what I like to do. But at the same time, I have some very valid criticisms. You don't need a slam mechanic. You don't need this dash mechanic that's like Ultrakill. The way that, yes, okay, you get health from blood like Ultrakill. It's all the same. Even the aesthetic is like Ultrakill. And this is the second game that I've seen do it. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, listen, stop it. Do something different. It doesn't matter if you suddenly say, oh, to get power in this game, you have to eat them, or whatever the case may be. Okay.
Ooh, hang on. Look here. Let's look here in the chat. Melancholy's got a great question. So postal brain damage versus Doom Eternal, blatant ripoff, homage, or inspired new game. Now, Melancholy, I love you, buddy, because this is the shit that I'm here for. So, let's talk about homage. Let's talk about being inspired by something and going, I want to do something like that, and I'm going to do it. Like, Postal Brain Damage very clearly cites its sources. You know what I'm saying? It very clearly goes, this is from Doom Eternal, this is from this, and like, you know, it's tongue-in-cheek, it's doing its thing, but it's also doing it very originally. It's very much a postal game, and it's taking those concepts and it's going like, we're gonna do it our way, and we're gonna cite our sources, and we're gonna just, you know, obviously we took this from here, right?
But
now I love it.
Postal as a franchise. Postal as a franchise is an entity, is an IP that is it's like Deadpool, right? Okay, it's a self-aware entity where it's like, we're definitely taking this from Doom Eternal. Okay, but then it's self-aware. Everyone's like going in. It's like, and you get the meat hook super shotgun and whatever. And Postal Brain Damage takes it and be like, duh, this is from Doom Eternal. You know, it's not like we have this new idea and it's just like, is that from Doom Eternal? No, totally not from Doom Eternal. Totally not. You know,
right?
It's so much more self-aware in the Postal Brain Damaged case. Okay, but I do agree with what you're saying here. Blatant ripoff versus homage versus inspiration. Now, if you go to the two games that I was mentioning earlier around Ultrakill, it is definitely a ripoff because it's taking everything from Ultrakill, trying to turn it, twist it a little bit, but not too much that it's not Ultrakill. All right, everything from the health system, from the movement, and I do think Ultrakill is one of those games that is a part of the movement shooter subgenre, and I think that's pretty fucking cool. But then you have games that are frame for frame deliberate ripoffs. You know,
right? If you're taking mechanics and stuff, and you're like, this is popular right now, so I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna make my own version of that because this is what's popular right now. You're like I'm like, you could definitely be inspired by games, right? You're definitely be inspired by games that are out there right now, but like when you hit a certain point where it's like so obvious that this is not only your inspiration, but it's what you're trying to mimic because it's popular, like. Obviously, I don't want to make blanket statements and just be like, oh, you're only doing this because it's popular. But, like, as gamers, we're not going to be ignorant of when it's inorganic.
Exactly. That's like, the word. That's the word there. When it's inorganic and when it's organic. Now, if you took the ideas from Ultrakill and you're like, you know what? I love this game called Ultrakill, and I fucking want to do something similar. I'm inspired by it. Now you go back, but you create a different aesthetic. You create a different narrative. You create a different gimmick in terms of wherever things like that. You still keep movement because that's the archetype you're actually talking about. You're not trying to recreate Ultrakill. You're inspired by the movements of Ultrakill.
Absolutely.
So that becomes a homage rather than, but then in the next breath, if you just went and said, I'm going to make Ultrakill, that's when it becomes a ripoff. I think in the case of Brain Damaged, that is more of a self-aware case where they're deliberately doing it to make a point. In that case, I think that's just a postal thing to do. And so thus, I think to that point, that's different. But if another game went and took Doom Eternal or Ultrakill and just frame for frame copied it, then it would be a ripoff. But then you see, and that's where I think that difference is, where they're inspired by it to create its own thing, but with the similar mechanics and similar ideas, but not Doom Eternal. Or
it's all about the soul. It's all about the soul and the passion. I mean, if we, staying on the Ultrakill train for a second, if you want to really break it down, Ultrakill is Devil May Cry in first person. The stylish action, the combat meter, all of that shit, it's all Devil May Cry in first person. So even Ultrakill itself is inspired by something else, by other games.
Yes.
Like the New Blood website that they made for it, Devil May Quake. You're taking Devil May Cry, mashing it with Quake, and you're turning it into Ultrakill. And, when you take like, hey, I love this, and I love this, and I'm going to take all this together, and I'm going to kind of fuse it into this thing that I'm making.
Yeah.
That is brilliant.
And that becomes
fantastic.
Original. Yes,
that becomes tell original. Something has like the soul of the artist in it, putting it out there, versus it being like, oh, you're putting your shit out there, and you're making what is essentially like you said, a ripoff of what's out there.
That's the thing. And I was disappointed. I'll be honest with you. I was disappointed because you can feel it.
I hear you.
So there's the two games that I'm thinking of. One of them is definitely been longer in the oven than the other, definitely. But the idea is still like you can still. It's so blatant that you can still see it's block design of the characters' arms and things like that. Very much like the Ultrakill character, who I don't know yet because I only played an hour of the game. So just so everyone knows. But
I think it's V1. I think it's V1.
V1.
I've only played a couple of hours of it myself. But even the aesthetic, I'm in the same. But I'm in the same boat.
But even the aesthetic, and I'm just like, guys, obviously we can see this is an Ultrakill clone, and this is why back in the 90s we had Doom clones, okay? And it does, the damage that it does is more just saturation. Because it does get to this point, and I mentioned this in my Realms Deep Roundup video, because what I loved about Realms Deep this year was that they had more than just boomer shooters, right? So I try to make sure that my video reflected a bit of that, because you have that variety and all of that, and I forgot where I was going with this.
Homage versus...
Yeah,
here. Well, you
Ultrakill.
You pick up the, So, but like, so I just finished playing. I don't know if you remember this one. It came out a few months ago. It's called Nightmare of Decay. It's a first-person survival horror game. It is brilliantly inspired by and an homage to the old like PlayStation 1 Resident Evil games, but it's in first person. Now it's a part of the whole like lo-fi horror trend, which I love. I'm loving all the lo-fi horror games because they're just like, we're gonna make a PlayStation 1 horror game, and then they go, cool, now how fucked up and weird can we make it? And that's great. I love that shit. I absolutely love that shit. Nightmare of Decay is an excellent example of a game that is clearly inspired something, but it's also like it's also literally laying its cards on the table. It's making no bones about it. It's like, I love the original Resident Evil games. I wish I had the license to make a Resident Evil game, so this is me doing that, but like throwing my own twists in there. But it has soul. It very clearly has the developer's passion thrown in.
Absolutely.
So, and I think that's one of the things that Melancholy, yes, in the homage category, 100%. And I think that's
the difference, right? Is that it self-aware? Is it aware of what it's doing and thus a homage, or is it trying to hide the fact that it took everything and thus a ripoff?
Right?
Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Is that the difference then? Maybe because I was upset. You can ask. So I had Demon. Demon works very late. She's a teacher, so she sits behind me and works. So while she was working, I was going off on Ultrakill. I played it for about an hour, and dude, every time I did something new on Ultrakill, I was like, oh my god, those other guys copied Ultrakill. And I'm the one, and I'm the asshole that didn't play Ultrakill before I reviewed those other games. So I'm now praising those other games. So if I played Ultrakill first and then went and reviewed those other games, it would have been so different. It would have been so different.
I 100% get that feeling. You're just like, wait a minute, wait. So this right here is where this is, and that, circle back around here for a second. That's why I am doing the History of FPS series, is because there's a lot of shit out there that came from older games, and we don't really stop and think about it, because not every first-person shooter is like Lord of the Rings, you know what I mean? Like Lord of the Rings is like the grandfather of fantasy, and pretty much every single fucking trope you see in modern fantasy came from Lord of the Rings. And we don't really stop and think about that, because they're such well-worn tropes to think about oh wait, it was all the way back here. So, there's all these games that introduce different mechanics, gameplay elements, game engine, stuff like that. And it all comes from somewhere.
You know what you should do? I was thinking about it now. You know what you should do? You should create some weird, timeline graph of when certain mechanics were introduced into the zeitgeist of FPS because of a certain game. Can you imagine that? So you could essentially track, all right, so when Blakestone came in, they invented this kind of thing, and that was started to, and then when Marathon came in, and then we eventually come all the way to Half-Life, where they introduced this weird sandbox kind of vibe, and and so on and so on, the technology that they implemented, which made them distinct. Sorry, I'm just thinking out loud now as I'm going.
No, that's great. That's great.
But it was just such an interesting, I just love again, like you said, circle it back around. I'm such a big fan of your FPS series, and you, sir, are the reason why it's taken me so long to publish my Doom Mood series. For those of you that don't know, I have been making Doom Mood, my Doom WOD review series now for must be 8 months, and I've done nearly nothing, because every time I'm about to create something pops in my head that I'm like, makes sense, and it was you and Immorpha, I think, okay? We're talking about how the History of FPS series is this archive of literal history where we talk about these parts of history, and I'm thinking, archive. Wow, that's so brilliant. And then I'm like, right, so I'm redoing my Doom Mood series, because I thought to myself, doesn't that makes so much amazing sense? So I sat back and I was just like, okay, how about I create Doom Mood, not so much in its construction, but in its execution, that it becomes an archive of Doom WOD commentary, right? Where if I'm a Doomer, now I'm that guy, I've been that guy, where I only knew the first 2 Doom games, period. I was aware that there were mods, but I had no idea, okay? Now imagine Hyacsho is sitting there and he's like, I want to play Doom WOD. So I look on YouTube and whatever, and I find the Doom Mood series, and here's this archive of however many 100 videos, I don't know how many I'll make, but however many videos I make, and it's suddenly, oh, you know what, I saw this WOD called Eve Eternity, I wonder if it's any good or if I should bother playing it, and it's in that archive, the Doom Mood archive. So you're the reason why I actually went back, rethought of how I wanted to execute it,
and so awesome.
But I don't regret it for a second. I think it's going to be so much better for it, by the way.
Man. So there is so much purity in taking something that you're partway through and then stripping it down and going, no. That's not the right way to do it.
Exactly.
I can't tell you how many things I've worked on where I was literally in the middle of it, and I stopped and I went, this is going in the wrong direction. I can feel it. Like I can always tell when I'm going in the wrong direction with a project, because I don't want to work on it. When I'm forcing myself to work on something, then I have to stop and reevaluate, because then I can tell I'm like, I don't want to work on this.
Do you know what happened with me like that? It was, if anyone in the chat as well, please call it out. I played the new Resident Evil game, Resident Evil, I don't remember, it was with...
Village?
Village, yeah. So I played Village on stream like a year or so ago, and I was like, oh, I want to do a review. I think I started writing this review, I recorded it, I finished the recording, I started editing, I sat there at my desk like this, and I was like, nah, and literally hours and hours, I think I must have put in 15-13 hours into it, okay? I just sat back and I was like, nope, I'm done, and it never saw the light of day. And you're so right, sometimes it's good for you to go back and just be like, no, this is not working, I gotta change, I gotta start over.
I mean, fucking dude, even Civi's done that. Like, he talked about how he was trying to do a video on TNT Evolution, and he got about midway through production and went, this is boring, this is absolutely boring, I'm gonna throw this in the can. And you gotta fucking do that sometimes, man. Kill your darlings, that's the term for it. You gotta know when to just kill your darlings, man. So it's like it's honestly, it can be really refreshing, that feeling of just like, oh my god, I don't have that on my back anymore. I don't feel like I need to fucking.
And I was very tempted to can Doom Mood as a series just right out, and because I mean, you've been watching my channel for a while as well. You can see that I as my channel and as a spokesperson for it, I can say that I've had to take a lot of time to figure out what the fuck I actually want to do and how I want to do it. And I think I'm pretty much there now. And with Doom Mood, I'm like, cool, I'm going to be focusing on this for the next few weeks, but then I'm going to also then not be able to review the next few games, especially like we've got Cultic coming out, we've got Dead Link coming out, which is pretty fucking cool, and things like that, and a whole bunch of others. And I'm like, right, so if I'm going to commit to Doom Mood, I've got to commit, because otherwise it's going to be this thing where it's just going to be this half-assed thing where it's just not going to come through. And I really want to sit and work on it, because I think one of the first sort of quasi episodes of Doom Mood, because it was called something different back then, which I think back then it was called Die Doom Consumed, okay? And I remember when you had that title. I remember that. And I did a review on John Romero's One Humanity. That was when the Ukraine crisis broke out and everything like that, the war in Ukraine. And I really wanted to talk about it, but then I did a review anyway, and that was a really nice test bed for me to be like, okay, structurally, I know how to make Do Mood, but I need to also add a few more things after talking with you and Nemor for that one time. I sat down, I was like, okay, I know how to structure this thing, but now there's this extra bit that I need to add on to it as well. And I think I'm getting to this point where, like, cool, this week, if work, guy, my man, I don't know how... Fuck, being a creator in your 30s and 40s is just ridiculous because work is
stupid.
Work is so bad.
Stupid.
Like you're so busy at work and you're like, oh god, and you're like, I have to record. Now, okay, no shade because this is not what I mean, but fuck, getting through anything Bridge Burner makes is beautiful and awful all at the same time because he pulls no punches. Like he's just like he's gonna go in. Like I'm playing Bastion of Chaos right now again for the second time, and I'm like, holy fuck, this map is difficult. Like, it is so not easy at all.
I feel that.
And anything he makes, yes, anything he makes is epic. It is so cool, but it is so not going to hold your hand. In fact, it's going to slap you through the face, put a gun in your hand and be like, good luck, and it just let you go. So I'm going through Bastion of Chaos now because if I can do Bastion of Chaos, then the other two maps that I have in mind are going to be so easy, but so it's taking time to do, and especially work life is. So anyone in the chat that has been a patron of mine in the past, guys, it's coming. Doom Mood is coming. I promise you, hang in there. We're going to do the thing. It's going to be better. But shit,
hey,
man.
If it can take SCORN 8 years to finish being developed, I think we can wait a little bit longer for Doom Mood.
Dude, I want to review SCORN though. I think that's the final exception
brother.
I'm going to make.
Brother.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I have... I trust, like, I'm with you on, like, I want to be on the History of FPS videos right now. Like, I really fucking need to finish this marathon video. Like, someone in my Discord, it was William, actually, pointed out, it's like, 42 days and still no marathon video. I was like, shut up, William,
That's
I'm trying so hard.
It's so rough.
But I have a hard rule. Every October is spooky month. So
Cheers, Melancholy. Take care, pal. I'll see you soon, eh? Thank you so much for coming through.
Buddy.
You're a legend, pal.
Good on you, son. Every October is spooky month. I stop what I'm doing. I play spooky games, whether they're first-person shooters or not, and then I play them and I review them for the channel. Then I go back to what I'm doing. And I honestly kind of got lucky with ProDeus because I had to take a poll on Twitter and be like, guys, is this spooky enough? Does this count for spooky month? And they all voted yes. So I was able to do the ProDeus video for October.
Nice.
And so I've got 2 other views, but SCORN. Oh my god, I'm so glad they pushed it up a week. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so glad they pushed it up a week because originally it's going to come out on the 21st, and my plan was I'm going to play the game, I'm going to make a video, and I'm going to turn it around in 10 days, and I'm going to put the video out on Halloween. Because I have to put a video out on Halloween. That's part of my rule for
myself. When is Halloween? I don't even know.
Oh, that is a Monday. It's a Monday this year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The fact that they moved it up to the 14th gives me an entire extra week to actually, like, play through however long the game is and do the... Oh, my God.
I think for me,
I felt so much relief.
You know what? The thing is, for me, it's just like... Because I also want to do the full release of Cultic. Because it makes sense because I was so critical of Cultic at the demo, and you and I remember I messaged you. I felt so bad because I was just like,
I remember.
You remember, and I was just like, I mean, I suppose it would have been my ProDeus video when I eventually do release the Cultic review. But like for me, I'm just like, I want to do SCORN because I did a really different kind of video on my channel for SCORN. I
remember that. Yeah,
a very different kind of video than what I'd normally make, but it was very popular. And I was like, I really enjoyed making it. So I'm like, okay, I still want to talk about SCORN, and I want to see it. And it's been a long time coming. I'm still pissed that you and I didn't get a review copy, and all the big names did. But whatever, that's fine. But it's fine, And then so I'll still review SCORN. Then, if I can just get one episode of Doom Mood out before I do Cultic, if I can just do one, I'll feel fulfilled. I'll feel like I'm doing something.
I believe in you. Because it's gonna be fun. Yeah, well, Cultic is hidden early access, so it's probably going to be a little bit. I think you're going to be able to do it, man. I think you're going to be able to do it. I'm excited for Cultic. I'm so fucking excited.
Don't get me wrong. I know I was critical. I know I was critical with Cultic, but I still enjoyed the bloody game. I still had a good time.
You know what, man? Don't be hard on yourself for being critical of this shit. That's like art is always subjective. That's what we're here to do. We sit down, we give our shitty opinion, and then we walk away when we go have breakfast. And then everybody comes in and they give their shitty opinion, and then they yell at us on the internet. But so the thing is someone's going to be harsher, someone's going to be more positive. It's like the only thing we can do is just speak our truth. And we're not always going to have a good take. I'm going to have a bad take here and there. Like, I've probably had a few bad takes that I'm not aware of yet because I need a bigger audience, and then someone can point out shit to me. And I probably had some really good takes. Like, apparently ProDeus is resonating with people, and they're going like, "Nah, man, I hear you. What you're saying makes sense." But we've got to allow ourselves to be critical. As long as we're coming from a place of genuine examination, talking about okay, so this is the game, these are the mechanics, this is how things are, etc., etc. If we're coming from a genuine place of, I took the time to sit back and think of this, and as long as it's not strictly reactionary, then man, let the critiques fly, and then we find out afterwards. We see how it lands.
I think as long as it's, and I always try and be as fair as I can in my reviews. I think as long as we're fair and constructive. Now, of course, I'm going to have some hot takes, like I did now with Ultrakill and things like that. But it's still fair, it's still fair play. It's not like I'm sitting there like that one comment on your ProDeus video. Oh, it's not Doom Eternal, thus it's shit. And I'm just like, fuck off. We don't have time for your crap. But I think we hold ourselves to that standard, which is good. You deserve so many more subscribers. So, guys, if you haven't already, guys, please, one more time, if you haven't already, please go and subscribe to Ruby Ranger's YouTube channel. I'm going to share it here in the chat. If you haven't already, go and give a sub there. This legend, this master, this Quake Dad, go and say hi. And Ruby, you know what? I think, my brother, that is at the roundabout end today's chatting segment of the show. I want to thank you so much for coming through. Is there anything, though, that we can end off on? Any kind of magic you want to bestow upon both my chat, but also on the digital universe?
Oh, any magic, just pull it out of your ass, Ranger, and figure out what's going on. Be dad and give us life advice. Oh, I don't know, man. Look, at the end of the day, kids, we're out here to have fun.
So we just got a raid, which I don't have a note. There it is. Oh shit!
And we've been raided. Yes.
I forgot that was working. It works.
The raid begins.
It works.
Take your axe and run with me. Oh,
that's insane. I didn't know that was coming. Panda, so much. Thank you for that raid. Welcome, Pandas.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Wonderful.
We're sitting here with Ruby Ranger. We're about to bid him adieu for the day. He's staying up super late for us. Actually, I forgot that. That's you're up at 1 o'clock, Ruby, aren't you?
It's 1:30. It's
1:30. That's insane, man. Well, Pandas, thank you so much for coming through. Panda, thank you for that raid. I really appreciate it, my brother. Sorry, Ruby, you were going to say something beautiful, and Panda just stood in here and broke down the door. Please finish.
Fuck it. We're good. No. No, I think the thing to remember at the end of the day here, kids, is that we're all out here just trying to have fun. These are games. That's what they are. They're games, for some people it's a artistic expression. For some people it's strictly for entertainment, but these are games. We're here to have fun regardless of how the game plays. And if you don't have fun with a game, it's okay to say that. And some people are going to have fun with it, other people aren't. There are trash games that are just really poorly made, and God bless them, I love playing those. There are some really wonderfully, beautifully made, technologically exciting things that, God, they bore the shit out of me, and I don't know why they did that. But we're all out here just trying to have fun. So just remember, kids, to enjoy your games, have fun with them. Maybe somebody else enjoyed it like you did, maybe they didn't, but always remember, stay hydrated, sit up straight, roll your shoulders back a little bit, think about that posture, and it's getting a little cold out. Maybe carry a light jacket with you, and always stay safe out there.
Now, that is some damn good Quake Dad advice. Ruby, thank you so much again for coming to the show, man. It has been my pleasure.
Thank
and
you
I know
so
everyone's
much.
Enjoyed having you. So cheers to you, my brother. Sleep well.
Cheers.
And hopefully we have you
Thank
back
you.
as a guest next time when I have a cooler layout and shit like that, okay?
I can't wait. I'd be here anytime, brother.
Excellent. Guys, round of applause for Ruby in the chat. Thank you so much for coming through, my man. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Take it easy, brother. Cheers.
What an absolute legend. What an absolute legend. Guys, that was Ruby Ranger, friend of the show, friend in general, actually. And I'm really grateful to have him on today's show. as our featured guest, talking about everything from ProDeus to History of FPS to Quake to Ultrakill apparently, and everything in between. That was outstanding. I'm very happy we did that. So big shout out once again. Thank you so much to Ruby Ranger for being such a legend. There is his Twitch channel. If you guys haven't already, go and check him out. Go and say hi. Again, he's the Quake Dad, and we're very happy to have him. Oh, we're playing Destiny. Oh, we must get into the Destiny train again. We must get into Destiny. Fucking hell. Also, just a quick... Let this roundup finish quickly. Shit. Guys, also big thank you again to Panda Pandemic, and big welcome once again to the Pandas. Thank you so much for that raid, Panda. I don't know if you're still there, but I really appreciate you, pal. Thank you so much. You're absolutely epic, and it's always awesome to see when Panda and the Pandas come into the chat. I'm a big fan of Panda's channel. Blogsy, could we get a shout out for Panda if we haven't already? But guys, now listen, the awesomeness continues on today's show. Ruby says, I've got an epic Halo 2 stream coming in. 8 hours! If you're up, come find me and have a great night, everyone. Cheers, Ruby. You're a legend, my man. Thank you so much again for chiming in. Absolute legend. Absolute legend. I'm going to do my best to come and say hi if I'm awake at that time. If for those of you that don't know, Ruby is actually on the polar opposite end of the planet. Okay. Ruby, it's 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning for Ruby Ranger. Fantastic. Thank you, Blogsy. Should probably change the location of that. Check this guy. That voice of Panda. The voice of Panda. Alright. Okay, everybody. So, what we're going to be doing now, the Pandas have come in at just the right time. As part of the high action weekend, we always start with a bit of a just chatting segment. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. Today we were fortunate enough to be blessed by the Ruby Ranger himself. Then we move over into the gaming segment, the game of the week. And today's game of the week is Cyberpunk 2077. It will be the first time Panda's back with ice cream. Fuck yeah! Ice cream! I want some ice cream! So, second part of the segment of today's show is going to be Cyberpunk 2077, and we're going to be jumping right in there in just a second, but as is per tradition and as is needed, and I'm sorry, Panda, I know you just sat down, but I'm going to quickly, just quickly, jump away, get a cup of water, get a cup of coffee, wash my face, and I'll be back in just 5 minutes. So go and grab yourself a cup of coffee if you haven't already. Go and grab some ice cream if you can, some water, what have you, and I will be back in just 5 minutes, and then we'll be starting and we'll be playing my first ever gameplay of Cyberpunk 2077.